Hi, I'm Mark from Kicker, and today I want to show you the Player Pool River Tendencies feature. So this feature exists to help you decide when you're on the river and you're facing a bet whether to call or not. So let's start by having a look at a specific board that I faced with a particular hand. So I had pocket nines, and this was the run out. Ace, Jack, 10, 5, Ace, which ended up rainbow. So what we're looking at here are the results of an analysis of 120,000 hands, where out of my hand history, which has several million hands in it, these were all the situations where someone bet the river. This is all the runouts. These are runouts that happened 120,000 times, and each time we know what the hand was that the player who bet the river bet, and therefore we know what the equity of that hand against that board, against a random hand, is. And that's what this equity distribution is here. What we're also looking at here, this purple line, is showing us our hand, pocket nines, against our run out, ace, jack, 10, 5, ace. How often a hand with the equity that pocket nines has on this board would have been good. And you can see that it would have been good 32.4% of the time. So should I have made this call? Well, it depends what the bet size was. Now, the bet size I was facing was half pot. So I'm going to adjust these filters here. The reason we have two graphs here is to compare against each other, but we'll set them to the same thing to start with. Facing a half pot bet, we should be good just over 35% of the time. And that's on a sample size of 26,000 hands. So looking at that, you would say that we should make the call, because the maths of the pot odds on the river when someone's bet half pot is that you need to be good at least 25% of the time. But we haven't put any kind of detail in about this particular run out. And what we know here is that this run out was rainbow on the flop, continued to be rainbow on the turn, although it was a flush draw, and then was rainbow on the river. So let's try that. Rainbow on the flop, flush draw on the turn, and then there was no flush on the river. So we'll put that in, and we can see there are 6,000 hands that fit that profile. There is very little difference between that profile of rainbow flush draw and then no flush on the river and just the generic situation. And roughly 36% of the time our hand is good. If anything, it's slightly better than the average in this situation. So let's clear that. And what we'll do now is we'll have a look at when the flop included an ace and also had 3 Broadway cards, and the river included an ace, because that was the run out. It was an ace high flop with 3 Broadway cards, and then the river included an ace. You can see we're actually down to 467 hands now, so that's a much smaller sample size, because there obviously just aren't that many run-outs where it's an ace high flop with 3 Broadway and an ace hits on the river. But there are nearly 500 of them, and you can see, under those circumstances, when someone's bet the river, our bluff-catching hand of pocket nines on an ace, jack, 10, 5, ace board, it's basically below third pair. It's the best pocket pair you can have, just below third pair, is only good 26.6% of the time. That's very, very close. And you could easily justify a fold here with it being that close. However, I know that the player that I played this hand against was in position, and I had checked that player. So if we have a look at in position, we can see we're actually good 31.2% of the time on a sample size of just under 200 hands. And if we'll copy the filter from the other side, and we'll just compare it with out of position. You can see when the player who bet the river was out of position, the hand is good only 23.5% of the time. But when the player who bet the river is in position, the hand is good 31.2% of the time. So under these circumstances, this analysis would suggest to me that it is profitable to call with my bluff catching pocket nines on a half pot bet on this kind of run out. Thanks for watching.